The Minnesota Vikings beat the New Orleans Saints 26-20 in overtime in New England. And right off the bat, we need to discuss the final touchdown play for the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings' final touchdown was controversial. It happened in overtime. It was 3rd and goal on, like a 1 yard line, and the Vikings threw the ball into the end zone. And the Vikings tight end Kyle Rudolph caught the ball, and some people say he pushed off, and that offensive pass interference should have been called. Now, look, I see it this way. I see it's a really close call. I think the call could have gone either way. Was it offensive pass interference? Was it not? It's one of those calls that's so close, it could have gone either way. But I do want to say, man, I feel really sad for Saints fans who feel robbed. Saints fans feel like, oh, it's another punch in the gut, another year in a row where we had an opportunity and the game got stolen from us in the final play. Whether it was 2 years ago, the Miracle in Minneapolis, where this crazy play on the last play, throw from Case Keenum, touchdown, Saints lose. Or last year, what was a blatant pass interference call wasn't made, and it cost it forced overtime, and the Saints lost in overtime. And this time, again in overtime, something happened, and the Saints lost where it was controversial. Maybe an offensive pass interference call should have been made. And I feel for Saints fans who are struggling. I really do. I'll tell you, when I'm struggling, I call my dad. I wish you could call my dad. My dad would care for you. But sadly, my job is not to care for your heart. My job is not to coddle you and tell you I'm sorry. My job is to be honest. And honestly, when I watched that game last night, I don't even care about that offensive pass interference play. What I care about is the Saints' missed opportunities. They had opportunities to win that football game, and they didn't. They had a missed field goal at the end of the half, a 43-yard field goal they missed. The game would have never even gone to overtime if the New Orleans Saints had made that field goal. And then never forget, the Saints had the ball on the 20-yard line going in with 4 minutes and 18 seconds left in the game, and Drew Brees fumbled and gave up the ball and gave the Vikings the ball. That's at least 2 scoring opportunities that they did not make happen. Not to mention the Saints were awful on 3rd down. They were 4 for 11. They converted 4 of their 11 3rd down attempts. Do not act like the Saints played a perfect game. They had opportunities to win the game long before the game ever was in the hands of the referees making that call and not calling offensive pass interference. The Saints could have played a lot better. They missed opportunities, and they allowed the game to go into overtime. And when you do that, if you don't make plays earlier in the game, you leave the game in the hands of people like the referees who are not perfect and can screw up. Guess what? That's a part of the game. I am sorry. Like, my heart goes out to people. I feel bad for them when it feels like the final play comes down to referees and then someone makes a bad call. But it shouldn't have ever come to that because the Saints had opportunities and they blew it. They missed a field goal. They were terrible on 3rd down. And again, never, ever, 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 ever forget, Drew Brees fumbled with 4 minutes left on the 20-yard line going in. In the red zone, Drew Brees gave up the ball, coughed it up, gave the Vikings the ball. Don't act like the Saints got completely screwed. They had opportunities. They didn't take advantage of it, and that is a big part of why they lost. Now, the Vikings quarterback, Kirk Cousins, was phenomenal. I love the guy. He's awesome. He made plays, and I've been hard on him. I've been honest about his struggles. But in this game, Kirk Cousins made plays when his team needed him. How awesome is that? He got his very first ever playoff win. My dad and I were sitting there, and my dad goes, man, Kirk is so lucky tonight it's not a Monday Night Football game because he's 0-9 on Monday Night Football. But no, I mean, all jokes aside, he played great. He made a couple of deep throws to Adam Thielen where I went, wow, Dad, that's a high-level throw. That's a perfect throw, and that's clutch. That's what his team needed. So I'm really happy for Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. Now, coming up next, the Minnesota Vikings play the San Francisco 49ers. I think they have a really good shot to beat the 49ers. The Vikings have found a way to get healthy at the right time of the year. Dalvin Cook came back. Adam Thielen came back. And, man, their defense, especially in this game, the Minnesota Vikings defense is playing really, really well right now. And it feels like the Vikings have caught fire at the right time of the year. At the end of the year, the Vikings are finally playing their best, brand of football, their best football of the year. I think the Vikings are a team to look out for. I would not take them lightly. Kirk is playing great. The team loves him. Did you see the team afterwards? They were so happy for Kirk. The team has rallied around Kirk Cousins and his leadership. I'm so happy for him. I'm happy for their team in general. And I think the Vikings are a team to not take lightly. They have a very good opportunity and a very good chance to beat the 49ers next weekend in the divisional round.